The monitoring station Harmony's watch floated silently in the void between star systems. Its silver hull caught the distant light of 3 suns, creating rainbow patterns across its smooth surface. Inside the station, alien beings from 12 different worlds worked together in peaceful harmony. They had been doing this for over 200 years. Communications Officer Vexatar sat at his console, his forearms moving smoothly across the control panels. His large, dark eyes watched the screens that showed empty space in all directions. The Galactic Federation had built stations like this one throughout their territory. They listened for new voices, new friends who might want to join their peaceful community. Vextar's console made a soft chime. A new signal appeared on his screen. He leaned forward, his curiosity growing. The signal was strong and clear, but it was unlike anything he had ever heard before. The universal translator tried to decode the message, but it struggled with the harsh, aggressive sounds. "Commander Thal," Vextar called across the bridge. "I'm receiving an unknown transmission." "Commander." Thal glided over on his 6 legs. His blue skin seemed to glow under the bridge lights. He was old and wise, having served the Federation for most of his long life. "What kind of transmission, Vextar?" "It's difficult to translate. The language is very different from anything in our database. But I think they're sending coordinates." Vextar's voice carried worry. "And Commander, the tone sounds angry." Thal watched as more data appeared on the screen. The transmission was powerful, coming from far outside Federation space. Whoever sent it had technology that could reach across many star systems. "Play what you can translate," the speakers crackled, with static. Then came a voice, deep and harsh. "This is Captain Kim Day of the Earth vessel Soul's Pride. We are coming to your space. We are not here to talk. We are here to show you what humans can do. Prepare yourselves." The bridge fell, silent. Even the soft humming of the station's machines seemed to stop. Vextar looked at his commander with wide eyes. "Commander, they said they're not here to talk. What does that mean?" Thal felt a cold fear in his chest. In all his years of service, every new species had come seeking friendship and trade. They came with gifts and songs, with art and stories to share. But this message spoke of something else entirely. "Red alert," Thal said quietly. Then louder, "Red alert! All stations, red alert!" Warning lights filled the bridge with red light. Alarms began to sound throughout the station. Crew members rushed to their positions, confusion on their faces. In 200 years, they had never needed a red alert. Far away, in the cold darkness between galaxies, the human warship Soul's Pride moved through space like a predator hunting prey. The ship was massive, over 2 kilometers long and covered in armor plating. Weapon ports lined its hull like the teeth of some ancient monster. Its engines burned with blue fire, pushing it forward at incredible speed. On the Bridge of Souls, Pride, Captain Kim Day stood before a large screen showing their destination. He was a tall man with dark hair and cold eyes. Scars on his hands told of battles fought long ago. He wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's Space Defense Force, with silver stars marking his rank. "Tactical report," Kim Day said. Park Jin, his tactical officer, looked up from his console. He was younger than the captain, but just as serious. "We're 12 hours from the first Federation outpost. Long-range sensors show 3 monitoring stations and what looks like a small fleet of civilian ships." "Civilian ships," Kim Day repeated with a slight smile. Of course they would be civilian. These aliens don't know what real war looks like. "Captain," said Lieutenant Choi Soo from the weapons station. "All weapon systems are ready, kinetic guns loaded, plasma torpedoes armed, nuclear warheads standing by." Kim Dae nodded. Earth had sent him here with one simple mission: show the galaxy that humanity was not to be taken lightly. For too long, humans had been alone in the dark, fighting each other for resources and territory. Now they had found a galaxy full of weak, peaceful aliens who had forgotten how to fight. "Sir," called Navigation Officer Han Bo from his station, "I'm detecting increased communications traffic from the Federation stations. They seem excited about something." "They've probably detected our approach," said Kim Dae. "Good. Let them see us coming." Engineer Lee Wan's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, fusion drives at full power. All systems operating at maximum efficiency. We're ready for whatever comes next." Kim Dae walked to the large window at the front of the bridge. Stars streaked past as the ship traveled faster than light. Soon, those stars would belong to humanity. The aliens of this galaxy had grown soft in their peace. They had forgotten the most important lesson of existence: only the strong survive. "Communications," Kim Dae said to Yang Min at her station. "Open a channel to Earth Command." Yang Min worked quickly at her console. "Channel open, sir." "Earth Command, this is Captain Kim Dae aboard Soul's Pride. We have made contact with alien forces. They appear to be as weak as our intelligence suggested. Beginning first phase of operation. Humanity will have its place among the stars, and that place will be at the top." The response came quickly. "Understood, Captain. You have full authority to proceed as planned. Show them what humans are capable of." Kim Dae smiled as he cut the communication. Behind him, his crew prepared for what was to come. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Earth's military academies had taught them well. Diplomacy was for the weak, and strength was the only language that everyone understood. "Time to Federation space?" Kim Dae asked. 11 hours, 47 minutes, Han Bo replied. "Excellent." Kim Dae turned to face his crew. "In less than 12 hours, we will make first contact with an alien civilization. They will try to talk to us about peace and friendship. They will offer us gifts and treaties. They will invite us to join their federation as equals." He paused, looking at each of his officers. "We will decline their offer. We are not here to be equals. We are here to be rulers. The age of human expansion begins now." Back on Harmony's watch, Commander Thal stood in the communications center, listening to reports from across Federation space. Every monitoring station had picked up the human transmission. The message was being analyzed by the Federation's best linguists and scientists. "What do we know about these humans?" Thal asked Science Officer Quindal. "Very little, Commander. They appear to come from a system far outside our territory. Our long-range sensors can detect their ship, and it's concerning." "Concerning how?" Quindal's tentacles moved nervously. "The ship appears to be designed entirely for warfare. We can see no research facilities, no diplomatic quarters, no cultural exchange areas. It's as if they built a ship with only one purpose: to fight." Thal felt that cold fear growing stronger. "Send a message to Federation Command. Tell them we need a diplomatic ship here immediately. And tell them to send our best negotiators. If these humans only understand strength, we need to show them that the Federation is strong too, but strong in peace." As Harmony's watch sent its urgent messages across Federation space, the human warship continued its approach. In 11 hours, two very different civilizations would meet for the first time. One believed in peace, cooperation, and the brotherhood of all intelligent life. The other believed in strength, dominance, and the survival of the fittest. The galaxy was about to change forever. The Federation's most advanced sensor array sat deep in space, hidden inside a small asteroid. Its operators had been tracking the human ship for 6 hours now, and what they saw made them more worried with each passing minute. Science Officer. Quindal stared at the readings on his screen. His 4 eyes moved independently, each one focused on different data streams. The information was impossible to believe, yet the sensors did not lie. "Commander," Quindal called to Thal, who was coordinating with Federation Command. "You need to see this." Thal glided over quickly. "What have you found?" "The human ship is massive, sir. 2.3 kilometers long, 800 meters wide. But that's not the concerning part." Quindal's tentacles moved across his controls, bringing up new images. "Look at these energy readings." The screen showed a detailed scan of Sol's Pride. Red dots covered the ship's hull like a disease. Each dot represented a weapon system. "How many?" Thal asked quietly. "We count over 400 weapon ports of various sizes. The ship has enough firepower to destroy a small moon." Quindal's voice shook slightly. "But, Commander, there's more. We can find no diplomatic facilities anywhere on the ship. No cultural exchange centers, no guest quarters for alien visitors, no research labs for peaceful study." Thal studied the image. In his long life, he had seen ships from every species in the Federation. Even the most military-focused races included areas for diplomacy and cultural exchange. But this human ship was different. It was built for one purpose only: to kill. "What about their power source?" Thal asked. "Multiple fusion reactors, each one larger than anything we've ever seen. The power output is incredible. They could run a small city with just one of their reactors, but they have 12 of them." The communication console chimed. Vexitar looked up from his station. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Federation Command. The diplomatic ship Peaceful Dawn is en route to our position." "How long until it arrives?" 8 hours, sir," Thal calculated quickly. "The human ship would reach Federation space in just 6 hours. "Tell Ambassador Rethkan to increase speed. We need him here before the humans arrive." On board Sol's Pride, the human crew was making their final preparations. The ship's weapons officer, Lieutenant Choi Soo, ran diagnostic tests on every system. Her screen showed green lights across the board. Every gun, every missile, every torpedo was ready for battle. "Captain," Choi Soo reported to Kim Day, "all weapon systems fully operational. Kinetic guns loaded with tungsten rounds, plasma torpedoes armed and ready, nuclear warheads standing by for deployment." Captain Kim Day nodded with satisfaction. "Excellent work, Lieutenant. What about our defensive systems?" "Shields at full. Power point defense systems online, armor plating reinforced. We're ready for anything they might throw at us." At the engineering station, Lee Wan monitored the ship's power systems. The fusion reactors hummed with controlled energy, providing more power than most alien worlds used in a year. "Captain, all systems operating at peak efficiency. We could fight a major battle and still have power reserves." "Good," Kim Day said, "because we might need to do exactly that." Navigation Officer Han Bo called out from his position. "Sir, we're detecting multiple Federation ships moving in our direction. They appear to be diplomatic vessels." Kim Day smiled coldly. "Of course they are. These aliens think they can talk their way out of anything. They don't understand that the only conversation that matters happens between weapons. Park Jin studied the incoming ship data on his tactical screen. Captain, the Federation ships show minimal weapon signatures. They're barely armed compared to civilian police vessels back on Earth. That tells us everything we need to know about these aliens, Kim Dae replied. They've forgotten how to fight. They've grown weak in their peace. Communications officer, Yang Min looked up from her station. Sir, I'm detecting Federation communication traffic. They're trying to coordinate a response to our approach. Can you understand what they're saying? Some of it, sir. Our translation software is learning their languages quickly. They seem to be calling for their best diplomats and peacekeepers. Kim Dae laughed. Peacekeepers! They're sending peacekeepers to meet a warship. He turned to address his entire bridge crew. Listen carefully, all of you. In a few hours, we will encounter the Federation's diplomatic team. They will try to convince us to join their peaceful community. They will offer us trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and seats on their council. He paused, letting his words sink in. We will refuse. Earth did not send us here to make friends. We came to establish dominance. The galaxy has been ruled by the weak for too long. It's time for the strong to take control. The crew listened intently. They had all grown up hearing stories of Earth's bloody history. Wars between nations, between ideologies, between religions. Humanity had learned to fight because they had to. It was the only way to survive. Sir, Hanbo called out, we're now 5 hours from Federation space. Should I adjust our approach vector? No, Kim Dae said firmly. Maintain current course and speed. Let them see us coming exactly as we are. Back on the monitoring station, Commander Thal received a priority message from the Federation Council. The galaxy's leaders had been awakened from their sleep to deal with this crisis. Their response was exactly what Thal had expected. Send more diplomats. The Council is dispatching their finest negotiation team, Thal told his crew. Ambassador, Rethkan has full authority to offer the humans membership in the Federation, including access to our technology and trade networks. Science Officer Quindal looked worried. Commander, based on their ship design, I don't think these humans are interested in technology sharing. They seem more focused on other things. What other things? Weapons, sir. Advanced weapons. Their ship design suggests they've spent centuries perfecting the art of warfare. Thal tried to push away his growing fear. The Federation had dealt with aggressive species before. The Corvan Empire had been warlike when first contacted, but they had eventually joined the Federation and become peaceful contributors to galactic society. Perhaps these humans could be reached the same way. Continue monitoring their approach, Thal ordered, and prepare a welcome message. Let them know we come in peace. On Sol's Pride, the bridge crew detected the Federation's transmission attempt. Yang Min worked to decode the message while the ship continued its relentless approach. Captain, Yang Min reported, the Federation is sending us a welcome message. They're inviting us to peaceful negotiations. Let me hear it, Kim Dae said. The speakers crackled. Then came a soft, melodic voice. Greetings, travelers from distant stars. This is the Galactic Federation, a community of peaceful worlds working together for the betterment of all intelligent life. We welcome you to our space and invite you to join us in friendship and cooperation. The bridge fell silent for a moment. Then Kim Dae began to laugh. It started as a quiet chuckle but grew into full laughter that echoed through the bridge. Friendship and cooperation, he repeated. They actually believe that's how the universe works. Park Jin checked his weapon systems again. Captain, should we respond to their message? Yes, Kim Dae said, his laughter stopping abruptly. Send them a response. Tell them we're coming and we're not coming to talk. Yang Min's fingers moved across her console. Message sent, sir. Good. Now, all stations prepare for contact with Federation forces. Remember your training. Show no weakness, accept no compromises. We are here to establish humanity's place in the galaxy, and that place is at the top. The human warship continued. Its approach, its weapons ready, its crew prepared for war. Behind them, more human ships followed in stealth mode, waiting for their moment to strike. The Federation had no idea what was coming their way. In just 4 hours, the galaxy's age of peace would come to an end. The diplomatic ship, Peaceful Dawn, emerged from hyperspace just 2 hours before the human vessel would reach Federation territory. Ambassador Rethkon stood on the bridge, his tall, thin frame casting a shadow across the control panels. His people, the Veltari, had been the Federation's primary diplomats for over 3 centuries. They had never failed to achieve peaceful first contact with a new species. Status report, Rethkon said in his calm, musical voice. Captain Yuldan. The ships, Commander, looked up from her station. We're in position, Ambassador. The human vessel is maintaining course and speed. They'll be here in 1 hour and 57 minutes. Any response to our welcome messages? Yes, sir, they sent a brief reply. Yuldan hesitated. It wasn't encouraging. Let me hear it. The ship's speakers activated, and a harsh human voice filled the bridge. Federation vessels, this is Captain Kim Dae. We are not here for your welcome. We are here to show you reality. Stay out of our way. Rethkon's 4 eyes blinked slowly. In all his years of diplomatic service, he had never received such a response. Every new species had at least been curious about the Federation, even if they were initially suspicious. Interesting, Rethkon murmured. They seem to view us as obstacles rather than potential friends. Captain, take us closer to their position. Standard diplomatic approach. Sir, Science Officer Nimtal called. From her station, I'm reading their ship's configuration. It's unlike anything we've seen before. Explain. The vessel appears to be designed purely for combat. I can detect no diplomatic facilities, no cultural exchange areas, no research labs. It's essentially a giant weapon. Rethkan felt a chill run through his body. How many weapons? Over 400 separate weapon systems, sir, and their power output suggests they could use all of them simultaneously. This was unprecedented. Even the most military-focused species in the Federation maintained diplomatic capabilities on their ships. The humans seem to have abandoned diplomacy entirely. Perhaps they're simply cautious, Rethkan said, trying to maintain his optimism. Many species arm themselves heavily when exploring unknown space. Once they understand our peaceful intentions, they'll surely be more reasonable. On Sol's Pride, the bridge crew watched the Federation diplomatic ship approach. It was beautiful in its way, with smooth curves and gleaming white hull plating. Lights along its surface created patterns that seemed almost artistic. It's barely armed, Park Jin reported from the tactical station. I'm detecting maybe 12 weapon ports, all of them small defensive systems. Captain Kim Dae shook his head in disbelief. They're approaching a fully armed warship with what amounts to a pleasure craft. These aliens really don't understand how the galaxy works. Captain, Yang Min called from communications, the Federation ship is transmitting again. They're requesting permission to come alongside for face-to-face negotiations. Face-to-face negotiations, Kim Day repeated, with a species they know nothing about. They're either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Lieutenant Choi Su looked up from her weapons console. Sir, should I target their ship? Not yet. Let's see what they do first. But keep all weapons ready. The Federation ship Peaceful Dawn moved closer, its approach vector calculated to appear non-threatening. Ambassador Rethkon prepared for what he hoped would be another successful. First contact. Open a channel, Rethkon ordered. Channel open, sir. Greetings, human vessel. This is Ambassador Rethkon of the Galactic Federation. I request permission to come aboard your ship for peaceful negotiations. We have much to offer your species, and I believe we can reach an understanding that benefits everyone. The response came quickly and harshly. Federation ship, this is Captain Kim Day. You will maintain your distance. We have no interest in your negotiations. Rethkon was confused but not discouraged. Captain Kim Day, perhaps there has been a misunderstanding. The Federation seeks only friendship with your people. We offer trade, technology sharing, and membership in our peaceful community of worlds. We don't want your friendship, came the cold reply. We want your submission. The Federation bridge fell silent. Even the ship's engines seemed to quiet in response to the shocking statement. I don't understand, Rethkon stammered. Submission? We are offering you partnership, equality among the stars. There is no equality. Captain Kim Day's voice came through the speakers like ice. There are only the strong and the weak. You have made yourselves weak with your peace. We are here to restore the natural order. Science Officer Nimtal looked at her readings with growing alarm. Ambassador, the human ship is powering up its weapons systems. What? That makes no sense. We've offered them everything they could want. Sir, Captain Yuldan said urgently, I recommend we retreat to a safe distance. No, Rethkon said firmly. We cannot retreat. That would only confirm their belief that we are weak. Prepare our defensive gesture protocol. Sir, disable their weapons temporarily. It's a standard procedure to show peaceful intent while demonstrating that we're not completely helpless. On Soul's Pride, the weapons officer detected the Federation ship's action immediately. Captain, Choi Su shouted, the Federation ship is targeting our weapons systems with some kind of disabling beam. Kim Day's face turned dark with anger. They're trying to disarm us. That's an act of war. Sir, the beam isn't doing any damage, reported Engineer Lee Wan. It seems designed to temporarily disable weapon systems, not destroy them. I don't care what it's designed to do, Kim Day snapped. They targeted our weapons. That's aggression, and we respond to aggression with overwhelming force. Park Jin looked up from his console. Captain, surely they're just trying to create a safe environment for negotiations. There are no negotiations, Kim Day said coldly. There is only strength and weakness. They've shown us which one they are. He turned to address his bridge crew. This is exactly what Earth Command expected. These aliens think they can control the situation through superior technology. They think they can force us to be peaceful by taking away our ability to fight. They don't understand that taking away a human's weapons is the fastest way to make an enemy. Orders, sir? Choi Su asked, her finger hovering over the firing controls. Kim Day looked at the Federation ship on his main screen. It was beautiful, peaceful, and completely unprepared for what was about to happen. All weapons, target the Federation vessel. Show them what human weapons can do to their advanced technology. Sir, Yang Min said desperately, they're still trying to communicate. They're asking us to talk. The time for talking is over, Kim Day replied. Fire all weapons. The space around Sol's Pride lit up like a star being born. Kinetic weapons launched tungsten rods at incredible speeds. Plasma torpedoes streaked through the void, leaving trails of superheated gas. Energy beams lanced out with deadly precision. The Federation ship, Peaceful Dawn, was not built for combat. Its shields, designed to deflect space debris and minor energy discharges, collapsed instantly under the human assault. The tungsten rods punched through its hull like bullets through paper. Plasma torpedoes melted entire sections of the ship's structure. Ambassador Rethkan was thrown to the floor as his ship shuddered under the attack. Emergency lights flashed red and alarms screamed throughout the vessel. "Damage report!" he shouted. "Over the noise. Hull breaches on 7 decks, Captain Yuldan called back. Shield generators destroyed, engines failing, life support critical. "Why are they shooting at us?" Nimtal cried out. "We offered them peace." Rethkan pulled himself up, his elegant diplomat's robes torn and stained. For the first time in his long life, he understood what his ancestors had experienced before the Federation brought peace to the galaxy. He was experiencing war. "All hands, abandon ship," Captain Yuldan ordered. "This is not a drill." The beautiful diplomatic vessel began to break apart under the continued human assault. Escape pods launched from various points on the ship, carrying the surviving crew to safety. On Sol's Pride, Captain Kim Day watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. "Cease fire," he ordered. The human weapons fell silent. Where the Federation ship had been, only debris and escape pods remained. "Communications," Kim Day said to Yang Min. "Send a message to all Federation forces in this area." "What should the message say, sir?" Kim Day smiled without warmth. "Tell them, this is what happens when you point weapons at humans. Next time, there will be no survivors." The galaxy had just learned its first lesson about humanity. They did not negotiate from a position of weakness, and they considered any threat to their weapons as an act of war. The Federation's age of peace was ending, one ship at a time. The emergency signal from Peaceful Dawn reached Federation Command within minutes. Admiral Zeftos, the Federation's highest military commander, stood in the war room staring at the tactical display. Red dots showed the locations of debris where a diplomatic ship had been destroyed. Yellow dots marked the escape pods floating helplessly in space. "How many survivors?" Admiral Zeftos asked grimly. 43 out of a crew of 200, reported Commander Velcor. The human ship targeted the escape pod's launch bays during their attack. Most of the crew never had a chance to evacuate. Zeftos felt something he had not experienced in over 50 years. Pure rage. The Federation had been peaceful for so long that most beings had forgotten what it felt like to lose friends to violence. "What do we know about their weapons?" Zeftos asked. Science Director Kolneth activated a holographic display. "The humans used kinetic weapons that we've never seen before. Metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds combined with plasma-based explosives and energy beams. Their technology is crude but devastatingly effective." "Crude?" "Yes, sir. While our weapons are designed to disable and minimize casualties, theirs are designed purely to destroy. They don't seem to have any non-lethal options." Admiral Zeftos studied the tactical display. The human ship continued on its course, heading directly toward 3 Federation colonies. Over 2 billion innocent beings lived on those worlds. "Mobilize the 5th Fleet," Zeftos ordered. "I want every available ship converging on the human vessel's position." "Sir," Commander Velcor said hesitantly. Perhaps we should try diplomatic contact first. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. They destroyed a diplomatic ship that was offering them friendship, Zeftos replied coldly. There was no misunderstanding. These humans came here to fight, and we're going to give them a fight they'll never forget. On board Soul's Pride, Captain Kim Day received reports from his ship's sensors. The destruction of the Federation vessel had sent shockwaves throughout their space. Communications traffic had increased dramatically, and ships were moving from all directions toward his position. Status report, Kim Day ordered. Park Jin looked up from his tactical station. Long-range sensors detect 47 Federation ships approaching our position. They'll be here in 6 hours. 47 ships, Kim Day repeated with amusement. They think numbers will make the difference. Captain, Communications Officer Yang Min called out, I'm intercepting Federation communications. They're coordinating what they call a peace enforcement action. Peace enforcement, Kim Day laughed. Even when they're preparing for war, they can't bring themselves to call it war. Engineer Li Wan's voice came over the ship's communication. System. Captain, all systems operating at optimal levels. Fusion reactors producing maximum power, weapons fully charged, armor integrity at 100%. Excellent, Kim Day replied. What about our special cargo? All nuclear warheads secured and ready for deployment, sir. We have enough firepower to sterilize a dozen worlds. Lieutenant Choi Su looked up from her weapons console. Sir, should we prepare for multiple enemy engagement? Not yet, Kim Day said thoughtfully. First, let's show them what human warfare really looks like. Open a channel to the approaching Federation fleet. Yang Min worked quickly. Channel open, sir. Attention. Federation vessels, Kim Day broadcast, his voice cold and clear. This is Captain Kim Day of the human warship Soul's Pride. You are approaching a superior military force. I advise you to withdraw immediately or face complete destruction. The response came within minutes. It was Admiral Zeftos himself. Human vessel, this is Admiral Zeftos of the Federation 5th Fleet. You have committed an act of unprovoked aggression against a peaceful diplomatic mission. Surrender immediately and prepare to be escorted to a Federation tribunal. Kim Day smiled at his bridge crew. They still don't understand. They think this is about justice and law. Yang Min, respond to their message. Yes, sir. Admiral Zeftos, there has been no crime committed here. We destroyed a vessel that pointed weapons at us. In human space, that is called self-defense. As for your tribunal, we decline. Humans do not recognize alien authority over human actions. The Federation response was swift and angry. You will submit to Federation law, or we will enforce it. There it is, Kim Day announced to his crew. They're finally ready to fight. Good. I was beginning to think they had completely forgotten how. Navigation Officer Han Bo called out from his station. Captain, I'm detecting Federation ships taking flanking positions. They're trying to surround us. Let them, Kim Day replied. Park Jin, prepare our surprise for the Federation fleet. Park Jin's hands moved across his tactical controls. Kinetic bombardment system armed and ready, sir. Target coordinates locked. 6 hours later, the Federation 5th Fleet arrived in formation. 47 ships arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around the lone human vessel. Admiral Zeftos felt confident that superior numbers would carry the day. Human vessel, Admiral Zeftos broadcast, you are surrounded. Surrender now, and your crew will be treated fairly under Federation law. Captain Kim Day's response was immediate. Admiral, you've made a tactical error. You've brought your entire fleet into one location. Now let me show you why humans rule their home world. Without warning, Soul's Pride began launching objects into space. They were small, dark, and difficult to detect on sensors. The Federation ships barely noticed them. "What are they launching?" Admiral Zeftos asked his science officer. "Unknown objects, sir. They appear to be rocks." The objects were not rocks. They were tungsten rods, each one weighing several tons and accelerated to enormous speeds by magnetic launchers. They spread out through space, taking up positions around the Federation fleet. "Captain Kim Day," Admiral Zeftos broadcast, "whatever you're planning, stop now. We can resolve this peacefully." "Peace," Kim Day responded, "is what you have when your enemies are all dead." The tungsten rods activated, their final stage boosters, and streaked toward the Federation ships at relativistic speeds. Moving at nearly the speed of light, they struck with the force of nuclear weapons. The Federation fleet had no defense against kinetic weapons moving at such incredible speeds. Their energy shields, designed to deflect laser weapons and plasma bolts, were useless against solid matter moving at relativistic velocities. The first tungsten rod struck the Federation flagship Unity's Hope directly amidships. The ship simply ceased to exist, vaporized instantly by the incredible kinetic energy. The second rod destroyed a heavy cruiser. The third took out 2 ships with a single impact. In less than 30 seconds, 23 Federation ships had been destroyed. The remaining 24 ships scattered in panic, their neat formation collapsing into chaos. "Impossible!" Admiral Zeftos whispered from his damaged command ship. "How can one vessel destroy half a fleet?" His science officer, bleeding from a head wound, looked up from his damaged console. "Sir, those projectiles were moving at 0.97 light speed. The kinetic energy release was equivalent to antimatter explosions." "But that's barbaric. No civilized species would use such weapons." On Soul's Pride, Captain Kim Day watched the Federation ships retreat with cold satisfaction. "Damage report," he ordered. "No damage, sir," reported Lee Wan. "We never let them get close enough to use their weapons effectively." "Casualties?" "None, sir." Kim Day nodded. "Perfect. Now open a channel to the surviving Federation ships." "Channel open," Yang Min confirmed. "Attention Federation vessels," Kim Day broadcast. "You have just experienced human military doctrine. We do not fight fair. We do not fight honorably. We fight to win, and we fight to kill. If you approach us again, there will be no survivors." The Federation ships continued their retreat, leaving behind the debris of their fallen comrades. "Sir," Park Jin said, "should we pursue them?" "No," Kim Day replied. "Let them run. Let them report what they've seen. Fear is a more effective weapon than any gun." Medical Officer Kang So's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, our monitors indicate elevated stress levels among the enemy survivors. They appear to be experiencing severe psychological trauma." "Good," Kim Day said simply. "That means they understand the lesson we're teaching them." The lesson was clear. Humanity had brought the art of war to a galaxy that had forgotten how to fight. The Federation's superior numbers and advanced technology meant nothing against tactics designed to maximize death and destruction. As the surviving Federation ships limped away from the battle zone, they carried with them a new understanding of what humanity represented. Not another peaceful species seeking friendship, but apex predators who had evolved beyond the Federation's comprehension. The galaxy was learning that humans did not just fight wars, they won them completely and without mercy. The emergency session of the Federation High Council convened in the Great Crystal Chamber on the capital world of Harmony Prime. Representatives from over 300 species gathered to discuss the crisis. Never before had a single alien vessel caused such destruction to Federation forces. Council Speaker Mordain called the session to order. Her voice echoed through the chamber as she addressed the assembled representatives. We are here to discuss the human threat. Admiral Zeftos will present his report. Admiral Zeftos limped to the center of the chamber. His uniform was torn and stained with green blood. The attack on his fleet had left him physically and emotionally scarred. Honored representatives, he began, his voice shaking slightly. The humans are unlike any species we have ever encountered. They do not seek territory or resources. They do not want trade or technology. They want dominance, pure and simple. Murmurs of concern rippled through the chamber. Representative Yilnara of the Peaceful Worlds Alliance stood up. Surely there must be some way to reach them diplomatically. Every species can be reasoned with. No, Admiral Zeftos said firmly. I watched them destroy the diplomatic vessel. Peaceful Dawn without hesitation. They killed 200 diplomats who were offering them friendship. These humans see our peaceful nature as weakness to be exploited. What do you recommend? Council Speaker Mordain asked. Admiral Zeftos took a deep breath. We must deploy the World Breaker. Shocked silence filled the chamber. The World Breaker was the Federation's most powerful weapon, designed centuries ago to destroy large asteroids that threatened inhabited worlds. It had never been used against a living being. That's impossible, Representative Kolveth protested. The World Breaker violates every principle the Federation stands for. Then perhaps it's time to abandon some of our principles, Admiral Zeftos replied coldly. These humans will not stop with one system. They're moving toward our most populated colonies. Over 2 billion beings live in their path. Meanwhile, on Sol's Pride, Captain Kim Day stood in his private quarters studying star charts of Federation space. The ship's artificial intelligence had analyzed captured Federation communications and identified key strategic targets. A chime at his door interrupted his planning. Enter, he called. Park Jin stepped into the room, his expression serious. Captain, we've intercepted Federation communications. They're mobilizing something called the World Breaker. Kim Day looked up with interest. What kind of weapon is that? Our analysis suggests it's an antimatter device capable of destroying planets. They're moving it to intercept our course. Interesting, Kim Day mused. So the Peaceful Federation does have weapons of mass destruction. They just prefer to keep them hidden. Sir, shouldn't we be concerned? If they can destroy planets, they can certainly destroy us. Kim Day smiled coldly. Park Jin, you're thinking like a Federation member. You're assuming this is still a fair fight between equals. He touched a control on his desk, and a holographic display appeared. Look at these readings. The hologram showed space around their current position. Dozens of red dots appeared, seemingly empty space. What am I looking at, sir? Our backup, Kim Day replied. Earth didn't send just one ship to establish our dominance. We're the advanced scout. The real fleet has been following us in stealth mode. Park Jin stared at the display in amazement. How many ships? 47 combat vessels, each one as heavily armed as we are. The Federation thinks they're facing one human ship. They're about to learn that humans never fight fair when they can fight smart. Captain Kim Day activated his ship's communication system. This is Captain Kim Day to All vessels of the human expeditionary force, decloak and take positions. It's time to show the galaxy what human military power really looks like. Throughout the space surrounding Sol's Pride, massive warships began to appear. They materialized from seemingly empty space, their stealth systems deactivating to reveal the true size of the human force. The ships were identical to Sol's Pride in design, but each had specialized roles. Some carried additional kinetic weapons, others were loaded with nuclear warheads, and still others were equipped with experimental weapons that Earth's scientists had been developing for decades. Captain Yoon-gi of the destroyer Busan's Fury opened a communication channel. Sol's Pride, this is Busan's Fury. All weapon systems armed and ready. Captain Jang Ho of the heavy cruiser Incheon's Wrath reported next. Sol's Pride, Incheon's Wrath standing by. Nuclear arsenal prepared for deployment. Captain Shin. Yu of the battleship Daigu's Vengeance completed the roll call. Sol's Pride, Daigu's Vengeance in position. Experimental plasma cannon charged and ready. Kim Dae felt a surge of pride as he looked at the display showing all 48 human warships in formation. Excellent work, all vessels. Now let's discuss our strategy for dealing with the Federation's superweapon. On the Federation monitoring station Harmony's watch, Science Officer Quindal stared at his sensors in disbelief. One moment there had been a single human ship in their space. The next moment, there were 48. Commander Thal! Quindal called urgently. You need to see this immediately! Commander Thal rushed to the science station. What is it? The humans, sir. They weren't alone. There's an entire fleet. The main screen showed the human formation. 48 warships arranged in perfect attack formation, each one bristling with weapons. How did we miss them? Thal asked. Stealth technology far beyond anything we've seen, Quindal replied, his voice shaking. They were hiding in plain sight. Send an emergency signal to Federation Command. Tell them the situation has changed dramatically. The message reached Admiral Zeftos just as he was preparing to deploy the World Breaker. He read the report twice, unable to believe what he was seeing. 48 ships, he said to his tactical officer. They had 48 ships hiding in our space, and we detected nothing. Sir, should we abort the World Breaker deployment? Admiral Zeftos looked at the tactical display. Even with the World Breaker, the Federation would be facing odds of 48-1. And if the humans had this kind of stealth technology, how many more ships might be hiding? No, he said finally. Deploy the World Breaker. It's our only chance. Back on Sol's Pride, Kim Dae received reports from his fleet commanders. Navigator Nam Ji coordinated the fleet's movements, while Communications Officer Yang Min monitored Federation communications. Captain, Yang Min reported, the Federation is moving their superweapon into position. Estimated time to firing position, 6 hours. Perfect, Kim Dae replied. That gives us plenty of time to implement our counter-strategy. Sir? Park Jin asked. The Federation thinks they're being clever by building a planet killer, Kim Dae explained. But they made one critical error. They built only one. He turned to address his bridge crew. Earth's military doctrine is simple. If the enemy has one superweapon, you destroy it before they can use it. If they have multiple superweapons, you destroy their ability to build more. But most importantly, you make sure they never get the chance to fire first. Orders, sir? Lieutenant Choi Soo asked from the weapons station. Launch the relativistic kill vehicles, Kim Dae commanded. Target the World Breaker's construction facility, their main shipyards, and their military command centers. Show them. What happens when you threaten to destroy human ships? The relativistic kill vehicles were humanity's most terrifying weapon. Asteroids accelerated to near-light speed. They struck with the force of nuclear weapons but left no radiation. They were nearly impossible to detect and absolutely impossible to stop. RKVs away, Choi Soo reported. Impact in 47 minutes. Kim Dae opened a channel to the Federation fleet. Admiral Zeftos, this is Captain Kim Dae. You have 46 minutes to surrender unconditionally. After that, your shipyards, your command centers, and your precious world breaker will cease to exist. The Federation response was immediate and desperate. You can't destroy entire facilities. There are millions of innocent beings in those locations. Then you should have thought of that before threatening to destroy human ships, Kim Dae replied coldly. You have 45 minutes to decide. Surrender or watch your civilization burn. The message was clear. Humanity had not come to the galaxy seeking equal partnership. They had come as conquerors, and they possessed both the technology and the will to destroy anyone who opposed them. The Federation was about to learn that their age of peace had made them soft, while humanity's age of war had made them unstoppable. The Federation High Council chamber erupted in chaos as emergency reports flooded in from across their territory. Council Speaker Mordain struggled to maintain order as representatives shouted over each other in panic. The Nexus shipyards are gone, cried Representative Talneth. 7 million workers completely vaporized. Military command on Sanctuary Prime has been destroyed, added Representative Kolveth. The entire Strategic Planning Division is dead. Admiral Zeftos stood in the center of the chamber, his face pale with shock. The humans had destroyed 3 major military installations simultaneously, using weapons that traveled at near-light speed. The Federation's most advanced early warning systems had detected the incoming projectiles only seconds before impact. How is this possible? Council Speaker Mordain asked. Our intelligence said there was only one human ship. Our intelligence was wrong, Admiral Zeftos replied grimly. The humans have 48 warships in our space, and they possess weapons we can't defend against. Representative Yilnara of the Peaceful Worlds Alliance stood up, her forearms trembling. Surely we can negotiate. Every intelligent species responds to reason. These humans don't negotiate, Admiral Zeftos said. They issue ultimatums. And if we don't surrender unconditionally in... He checked his chronometer. 37 minutes, they'll destroy more facilities. What about the World Breaker? Asked Representative Zornell. The construction facility was their first target. The weapon itself is intact. But we can't build another one if this one fails. The chamber fell silent as the representatives realized the magnitude of their situation. The Federation had enjoyed peace for so long that they had forgotten how to fight a real war. On the Federation's most heavily defended world, the Worldbreaker weapon hung in space like a metallic moon. It was 3 kilometers long and packed with enough antimatter to crack a planet in half. Admiral Yeshatara commanded the weapon from the control ship Final Option. Status report, Admiral Yeshatara ordered. Worldbreaker is fully charged and ready to fire, reported Weapons Officer Dilneth. We can destroy the human fleet the moment they come within range. How long until they reach us? At their current speed, 18 minutes. Admiral Yeshatara felt the weight of history on her shoulders. She was about to use the most powerful weapon the Federation had ever built against living beings. It went against everything her people believed in, but the humans had left them no choice. Sir, called Censor Officer Nalvek, I'm detecting something unusual. The human ships are spreading out. Explain. They're not maintaining formation. Each ship is taking a different approach vector. It's as if they're trying to surround us from multiple directions. Admiral Yeshitara studied the tactical display. The human ships were indeed spreading out across a vast area of space. They're trying to make it impossible for us to target them, all with one shot. That won't work, Weapons Officer Dilneth said confidently. The Worldbreaker's antimatter explosion will destroy anything within 100,000 kilometers. On Soul's Pride, Captain Kim Day watched the Federation's superweapon grow larger on his main screen. Chief Science Officer Bei Do had been studying the massive device for the past hour. Analysis complete, Captain, Bei Do reported. The weapon uses contained antimatter to create a controlled explosion. Devastating, but it has a critical weakness, which is, it can only fire in one direction at a time, and it takes several minutes to recharge between shots. Kim Day smiled coldly. Perfect. That gives us everything we need. He opened a channel to his fleet. All ships, implement dispersal pattern Omega. Make sure the Federation can't destroy us all with one shot. The human fleet spread out across millions of cubic kilometers of space. Each ship took a different approach to the Federation weapon, making it impossible for even the Worldbreaker to target them all simultaneously. Sir, Park Jin reported from the tactical station, all ships are in position. Excellent. Now let's show the Federation what humans learned from our nuclear age. Kim Day turned to Communications Officer Yang Min. Open a channel to the Federation. Weapon. Channel open, sir. Federation vessel, this is Captain Kim Day. You have exactly 60 seconds to surrender that weapon, or we will demonstrate why threatening humans with extinction is a very bad idea. Admiral Yeshitara's response came immediately. Human ship, we will not surrender our only defense against your aggression. Withdraw from Federation space immediately. You misunderstand, Kim Day replied. This isn't a negotiation. This is a warning. 50 seconds. On the Federation weapon control ship, panic was beginning to set in. Admiral Yeshitara had trained for many scenarios, but fighting an enemy that seemed immune to fear was not one of them. Admiral, Sensor Officer Nalvech, called out urgently, "The human ships are launching something, multiple objects. Very small, very fast. Missiles? No, sir. They appear to be pods of some kind. The objects streaking toward the Worldbreaker were not missiles. They were boarding pods, each one carrying a team of human soldiers equipped with the most advanced military gear Earth could produce. Security Chief Lim Du, aboard Soul's Pride, monitored the assault from his station. All boarding teams away, Captain. Estimated time to target, 4 minutes. Good, Kim Day replied. Now let's see how well the Federation fights when the enemy is already inside their defenses. The first boarding pod slammed into the Worldbreaker's hull with tremendous force. Human soldiers, protected by powered armor and armed with weapons designed for ship-to-ship combat, cut through the hull like it was paper. Admiral Yeshitara felt her ship shudder as the humans began their assault. Security teams to all breach. Points, she ordered. Repel the boarders! The Federation security forces were trained for law enforcement, not military combat. They carried stun weapons designed to subdue criminals and disturbed individuals. The humans carried military-grade assault weapons designed to kill enemy soldiers as efficiently as possible. The fight was over in minutes. Human soldiers moved through the ship with ruthless efficiency, neutralizing resistance and securing key areas. They had trained for this exact scenario, capturing an enemy superweapon intact. Boarding teams have secured the Weapon Control Center, Security Chief. Limdo reported to Kim Day. The antimatter device is under human control. Excellent, Kim Day replied. He opened a channel to the Federation fleet. Admiral Zeftos, your superweapon now belongs to humanity. I suggest you reconsider your position. The response came from the Federation High Council itself. Council Speaker Mordane's voice was filled with desperation. What do you want from us? Unconditional surrender, Kim Day replied simply. Complete withdrawal of all Federation forces from this sector. Recognition of human authority over 12 star systems of our choosing, and full access to all Federation technology. Those terms are unacceptable, Admiral Zeftos protested. You're demanding that we surrender our sovereignty. No, Kim Day corrected. I'm demanding that you acknowledge reality. You lost the moment you pointed weapons at human ships. The only question now is whether you surrender with dignity or we destroy every Federation facility in this sector. To emphasize his point, Kim Day ordered the captured Worldbreaker to target an uninhabited Federation research station. The antimatter weapon fired, and the station ceased to exist in a flash of brilliant light. The next target will not be uninhabited, Kim Day warned. You have 1 hour to accept our terms. Throughout Federation space, panic gripped the leadership. Admiral Zeftos looked at the tactical displays showing human ships positioned throughout their territory. 48 warships, each one capable of destroying entire fleets, and now they controlled the Federation's most powerful weapon. We have no choice, Admiral Zeftos said quietly to Council Speaker Mordane. They've outfought us, outsmarted us, and outplanned us at every turn. There must be something we can do, Mordane pleaded. There is, Admiral Zeftos replied. We can surrender while we still have a civilization left to surrender. The Federation had learned the hard way that there were species in the galaxy who had never forgotten how to wage war. Humanity had spent millennia perfecting the art of conflict, and they had brought that expertise to the stars. The age of peace was ending, and the age of human dominance was about to begin. The great crystal chamber of the Federation High Council had never been so quiet. For the first time in 3 centuries, the representatives of over 300 worlds sat in defeated silence. The holographic display at the center of the chamber showed human warships positioned throughout Federation space like predators claiming new territory. Council Speaker Mordane stood slowly, her elegant form seeming smaller than usual. The weight of surrender hung heavy on her shoulders. Around her, representatives from the galaxy's most advanced civilizations waited for her words. Honored colleagues, Mordane began, her voice barely above a whisper, we have received the human terms for surrender. I will read them now. She activated a data tablet, though she had already memorized every devastating word. First, the Galactic Federation acknowledges human authority over 12 star systems, to be chosen by human leadership. Second, all Federation military forces will withdraw from the designated human territory within 30 standard days. Third, the Federation will provide complete access to all technological databases, including classified military research. Murmurs of despair rippled through the chamber. Representative Kolveth stood up, his 6 arms shaking with anger. These terms would make us subjects of a primitive species. How can we accept this? Because the alternative is extinction, Admiral Zeftos replied from his position near the council chamber's center. His uniform still bore scorch marks from the human attacks. These humans don't fight wars the way we understand them. They Fight to eliminate enemies, not to achieve political goals. Surely there must be room for negotiation, Representative Yilnara pleaded. No species is completely unreasonable. Admiral Zeftos shook his head grimly. I tried to negotiate with them. They destroyed half my fleet in response. When I deployed our most powerful weapon, they captured it and turned it against us. These humans don't negotiate from positions of weakness. The chamber's communication system activated, and Captain Kim Dae's voice filled the space. His words were calm, but carried an unmistakable threat. Federation Council, this is Captain Kim Dae. You have 15 minutes remaining to accept our terms. After that, we will begin demonstrating human military capabilities on your populated worlds. Council Speaker Mordain closed her eyes, feeling the weight of 2 billion Federation citizens on her conscience. We need to vote, she said quietly. The vote was swift and unanimous. Every representative chose surrender over the destruction of their worlds. Captain Kim Dae, Mordain said into the communication system, the Galactic Federation accepts your terms unconditionally. On Soul's Pride, Captain Kim Dae smiled with cold satisfaction. Park Jin, his tactical officer, looked up from his console. With something approaching respect, Sir, how did you know they would surrender so completely? Because I understand something about civilized species that they don't understand about themselves, Kim Dae replied. They've lived in peace for so long that they've forgotten how to accept losses. They can't comprehend the idea of fighting. To the last person because they've never had to. Communications Officer Yang Min interrupted their conversation. Captain, we're receiving surrender confirmations from Federation military commands across this sector. Excellent. And our special guest? Ambassador Rethkon is aboard, sir. He's in the detention area, waiting for your interview. Kim Dae nodded. The Federation's chief diplomat had been rescued from the wreckage of Peaceful Dawn specifically for this moment. Have him brought to Conference Room 1. It's time to establish the new order. 20 minutes later, Ambassador Rethkan sat across from Captain Kim Dae in a sterile conference room. The Federation diplomat's elegant robes were torn and stained, and his 4 eyes showed the strain of defeat. Despite his injuries, he maintained the dignified bearing that had made him famous throughout Federation space. Ambassador, Kim Dae said without preamble, you will be responsible for implementing the transition of authority in the 12 systems we're claiming. I am a diplomat, Rethkon replied quietly, not a colonial administrator. You are whatever. We need you to be, Kim Dae corrected. The Federation system of government is dissolved in human territory. You will help establish our new administration, or you will be replaced by someone who will. Rethkon looked at the human captain with something approaching curiosity. Why are you doing this? Your species could have joined the Federation as equals. We offered you everything we had. Everything you had was weakness, Kim Dae replied. Your Federation is a collection of species that gave up their strength in exchange for comfort. You've forgotten that the universe is hostile and that only the strong survive. But the galaxy has been peaceful for centuries because no one strong enough to challenge you had arrived yet, Kim Dae said. That peace was always temporary. It was always going to end when a species like humanity found you. He stood and walked to the room's viewport, looking out at the stars. Ambassador, let me explain something about human history. We spent 10,000 years fighting each other for control of one small planet. We developed nuclear weapons and came close to destroying ourselves multiple times. We learned to fight in space, on land, underwater, and in the air. War is not just something we do, it's something we are. Rethkan felt a chill run through his body. And now you're bringing that experience to the galaxy. We're bringing order to the galaxy, Kim Day corrected. Your Federation had its chance to rule through peace and cooperation. That experiment failed the moment it encountered a species that understood the true nature of existence. Security Chief Lim Du entered the conference room and approached Captain Kim Day. Sir, the Federation technology transfers are beginning. Our science teams are already analyzing their database. Good. What about their military installations? All Federation forces have withdrawn as ordered. We now have complete control over the 12 designated star systems. Kim Day turned back to Ambassador Rethkan. You see, Ambassador, this is how real change happens. Not through committees and votes and endless discussions, but through strength and decisive action. And what happens to the rest of the Federation? Rethkan asked. They continue to exist, for now, under our protection. As long as they remember their place and don't interfere with human interests, will allow them to maintain their peaceful little communities. Protection? Rethkan's voice carried disbelief. You destroyed our fleets and captured our weapons. How is that protection? Protection from the next species like us, Kim Day replied. Because there will be others, Ambassador. The galaxy is vast, and somewhere out there are species even more aggressive than humanity. When they arrive, you'll be grateful that humans are in charge. Communications Specialist. Oh Jun's voice came over the ship's intercom. Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Put it through to this room, Kim Day ordered. The holographic communication system activated, and the image of Earth's military commander appeared. Admiral Chen looked tired but satisfied. Congratulations, Captain Kim Day. Your mission has exceeded all expectations. Earth Command is pleased with your results. Thank you, sir. What are our next orders? Consolidate your position and begin establishing permanent human colonies in the captured systems. Earth is sending additional ships and personnel to support. Your administration. Additional ships? Rethkan asked weakly. Admiral Chen looked at the Federation diplomat with cold amusement. Ambassador, what you've seen so far is just the beginning. Earth is constructing a fleet 10 times larger than what Captain Kim Day brought to your space. We have plans for expansion that go far beyond your little Federation. But why? Rethkan pleaded. You could have had peaceful cooperation with us. Because cooperation implies equality, Admiral Chen replied, and humans are not equal to other species. We are superior, and the galaxy will eventually recognize that fact. The transmission ended, leaving the conference room in silence. Ambassador Rethkan sat quietly, finally understanding the magnitude of what had happened. The Federation's age of peace had ended not with a gradual decline, but with a sudden, overwhelming demonstration of human military superiority. Ambassador, Kim Day said, you have a choice. Help us establish a stable transition of power, and your people will be treated fairly under human rule. Resist us, and they will face the same fate as your military installations. Rethkan looked up at the human captain, seeing the cold certainty in his eyes. There was no negotiation possible with these beings. They had come to conquer, not to coexist. I will cooperate, Rethkan said quietly. Excellent, Kim Day replied. Welcome to the new Galactic Order, Ambassador. Try to remember that resistance is futile, but collaboration can be rewarding. As Ambassador Rethkan was escorted to his new quarters, he realized that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had arrived not as another member of the galactic community, but as its new rulers. The Federation's 3 centuries of peace had ended in less than 3 days. 6 months after the Federation's surrender, the galaxy had become a very different place. Human military outposts dotted the space lanes like watchtowers, monitoring all civilian traffic. The 12 systems claimed by humanity bustled with activity as Earth ships arrived daily, bringing colonists, soldiers, and advanced military equipment. Admiral Kim Day stood on the observation deck of Sol's Pride, now permanently stationed at New Harmony Station, the former Federation capital of the captured sector. Through the massive viewport, he watched human construction crews working alongside alien workers to build new defensive installations. "Status report," Admiral Kim Day ordered. His promotion had come through 3 months ago, along with command of the entire human expeditionary force. Commander Park Jin, now wearing the insignia of a ship captain, approached with a data pad. "All 12 systems are fully under human control, sir. Colony ships from Earth have established permanent settlements on 47 worlds. And the Federation compliance? Complete, sir. They've withdrawn all military forces as ordered and provided full access to their technology databases. Our science teams have made remarkable progress integrating their knowledge with our own." Admiral Kim Day nodded with satisfaction. The Federation's advanced technology, combined with human military innovation, was creating weapon systems that surpassed anything either civilization had possessed individually. "What about resistance movements?" "None detected, sir. The Federation species seem to have accepted the new reality. They're focusing on maintaining their remaining territories rather than trying to reclaim what they've lost." Engineer Li Wan's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Admiral, the new weapon systems are ready for testing. The Federation shield technology integrated with our kinetic weapons has produced remarkable results." "Excellent. Schedule a demonstration for the Federation observers." Kim Day had learned that fear was most effective when it was regularly reinforced. Monthly demonstrations of human military capabilities kept the Federation species reminded of their position in the new order. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Communications Officer Yang Min looked up from her station. "Admiral, we're receiving a message from Earth Command. Priority Alpha." "Put it through." The holographic display activated, showing Admiral Chen from Earth's military headquarters. Behind him, Kim Day could see construction activity on a massive scale. "Admiral Kim Day, congratulations on the successful integration of Federation technology. Your mission continues to exceed expectations." "Thank you, sir. What's the status of the new fleet construction?" Admiral Chen smiled. "Phase 1 is complete. We now have 480 combat vessels ready for deployment. Phase 2 will add another 1,000 ships to our space force." Admiral Kim Day felt a surge of pride. When he had first arrived in Federation space with 48 ships, the aliens had thought they could overwhelm him with numbers. Now Earth possessed a fleet that could dominate entire galaxies. "What are our new orders, sir?" "Long-range reconnaissance has detected signals from beyond the galactic rim. It appears there are other civilizations out there, possibly more advanced than the Federation." Admiral Kim Day's eyes lit up with anticipation. "How advanced?" "Unknown at this time. But our analysis suggests they may possess technology that could be challenging to human forces." "When do we begin contact operations?" The first wave launches in 60 days. You'll command the advance force, 200 ships including the new experimental vessels built with Federation technology. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Kim Day alone with his thoughts. The Federation had been a good start, but they were just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and somewhere out there were challenges worthy of human military prowess. Chief Science Officer Beidou entered the observation deck, carrying a tablet filled with data. Admiral, the analysis of Federation historical records is complete. What did you find? Fascinating information, sir. The Federation wasn't always peaceful. 3,000 years ago, they were involved in massive wars with something called the Dark Alliance. The records are fragmentary, but it appears the Federation barely survived. What happened to this Dark Alliance? They disappeared beyond the Galactic Rim. The Federation assumed they were destroyed, but there's no confirmation. Admiral Kim Day studied the star charts on his tablet. Beyond the familiar spiral arms of the galaxy lay endless darkness, potentially hiding civilizations that could challenge human supremacy. Interesting, he murmured. Schedule a meeting with Ambassador Reth Khan. I want to know everything the Federation remembers about these wars. Later that day, Ambassador Reth Khan sat in the same conference room where he had accepted Federation defeat 6 months earlier. The alien diplomat looked older now, worn down by the constant stress of serving under human rule. Ambassador, Admiral, Kim Day began, I need information about the Dark Alliance. Reth Khan's 4 eyes widened with surprise. How do you know about them? We've been studying your historical records. Tell me about the wars. Reth Khan was quiet for a long moment. The Dark Alliance nearly destroyed galactic civilization. They were, like you in some ways, aggressive, militaristic, technologically advanced. But they were worse. Worse how? They didn't just conquer worlds. They consumed them. Entire planets would be stripped of all life, all resources, everything. They turned solar systems into nothing but empty space and dead rocks. Admiral Kim Day leaned forward with interest. What happened to them? We don't know. 3,000 years ago, they simply disappeared. One day, they were destroying our border worlds. The next day, silence. We assumed they had destroyed themselves, but we never found any evidence. And you think they went beyond the Galactic Rim? It's possible. Our long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures moving in that direction before they vanished. We built the Federation partly as a defense against their return. Admiral Kim Day smiled coldly. Your peaceful Federation as a military alliance? How ironic. We maintained our military capabilities for the first 1,000 years after their disappearance, Reth Khan explained. But as time passed and they never returned, we gradually converted to peaceful purposes. We thought the threat was gone forever. But now you think it might not be? Reth Khan looked uncomfortable. Admiral, if the Dark Alliance still exists beyond the Rim, and if they've had 3,000 years to grow stronger, your expansion might attract their attention. Good, Admiral Kim Day replied. Humanity needs worthy opponents. You don't understand, Reth Khan said urgently. These beings weren't just militaristic, they were completely amoral. They viewed all other life as resources to be consumed. If they return and find humanity expanding across the galaxy, they'll find that humanity is nothing like the weak Federation they fought before, Admiral Kim Day interrupted. We welcome the challenge. Navigator Nam Ji's voice came over the ship's intercom. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting unusual activity beyond the Galactic Rim. Multiple large energy signatures, moving in our direction. Admiral Kim Day stood up quickly. On my way. He looked at Ambassador Rethcon. It seems we're about to find out if your Dark Alliance still exists. On the Bridge of Soul's Pride, the crew studied sensor readings that defied easy explanation. The energy signatures were massive, larger than anything they had encountered before. Analysis, Admiral Kim Day ordered. Chief Science Officer Bei Do looked up from his console, his expression troubled. Sir, whatever's out there is producing energy readings that dwarf our largest ships. I'm detecting at least 50 separate signatures, each one the size of a small moon. Estimated time to arrival. At their current speed, 6 months. Admiral Kim Day felt a thrill of anticipation. The Federation had been too easy, too peaceful. These new arrivals might provide the challenge that humanity needed. Communications, he ordered Yang Min. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we've made contact with a potentially hostile force from beyond the Galactic Rim. Request immediate deployment of the entire expanded fleet. Message sent, sir. Now send a signal to the approaching vessels. Standard first contact protocol. Yang Min worked at her console. Channel open, sir. Unknown vessels. This is Admiral Kim Day of the Human Expeditionary Force. You are approaching territory under human protection. State your intentions. The response came within hours, transmitted on frequencies that human equipment barely recognized. When the universal translators finally decoded it, the message sent chills through the bridge crew. Humans. Interesting. We remember this galaxy. We remember the weak ones who drove us away. But you are not them. You fight. You conquer. You might be useful. Admiral Kim Day smiled. Now that sounds like a proper challenge. The voice continued. We are the Devourers. We have spent 3 millennia growing strong in the dark between galaxies. We return to reclaim what was once ours. Surrender your ships and your worlds, and we will allow some of your species to survive as servants. Counteroffer, Admiral Kim Day replied immediately. Withdraw to whatever hole you crawled out of, and we might allow some of your species to survive our retaliation. The alien response was immediate and filled with what sounded like laughter. Amusing. We will enjoy consuming your worlds, human. Prepare for war. Finally, Admiral Kim Day said to his bridge,